Hello, hello, what is going on, party people? My name is Twinkle Toes, and welcome back to my channel. Today is the very first day of a new series that I'll be starting called Gaming Discussions. This is a series where we'll be going through gaming franchises and discussing over past, present, and future events. So, as you can tell, first episode is going to be over Mass Effect. Just the entire series, not Andromeda itself. I'll just be playing Andromeda in the background so you guys have something to watch while I talk a lot. But anyway, guys, I'm going to set this video specifically into three parts. One, the first part is going to be my personal experience with the game and what I have opinions of it so far. The second part is going to be into past games, going in depth about past games and present games, and going into what I think was good about them, statistically what was good about them, and stuff they might have improved on, all that kind of stuff. And part 3 is going to be what is the future for the topic we are on, based on my opinions and what I have done research on. So anyway, guys, without further ado, let's get right into this. Alright guys, this is going to be the start of part 1 of the video where I'm going to discuss myself and how I got introduced to the topic of Mass Effect and also what I have thought about it so far and basically my opinions. So if you want to skip to the second part or the third part, I completely understand, and I will set up the times for when that starts right now on screen so you can see it. It should be up there now. But anyway guys, we're going to hop in right into part 1. So my personal experience and how I was introduced. So I was introduced to Mass Effect. I think it was 5 years ago when the first three were out, and they were, I don't know if they were new at that time. I can't remember exactly when they were made, but that's when I was introduced. My cousin actually introduced me to it, and I just kind of got hooked to it because if you know me and if you've seen some of my videos, I am a huge fan, a very huge fan of sci-fi and fantasy alike. That's why I like role-playing games so much. Mass Effect will always have a place in my heart. It is still and probably will always be my most favorite role-playing game that there ever will be. Besides Skyrim, I don't know, Skyrim might compete with it. But anyway, some stuff that I think about it. Well, overall, I think that Mass Effect is fairly good. In fact, I've already stated it is my favorite and I think the best sci-fi role-playing game to the date, which includes Andromeda as well as the original three. But yeah, that is my personal intake on it. That's how I was introduced to it. And part 1, guys, is usually going to be a little bit shorter than the other parts. That's just because I know you probably don't want to hear me stand here and talk the entire time. So, anyway, without further ado, we will get into part 2. Alrighty guys, this will be the start of part 2 of the video where I will be discussing the past games and games that are currently out for Mass Effect as well as my opinions on them, and I'm also going to be doing some comparisons to the first 3 games as well as Andromeda, because they are completely two different things. Now, I'm going to flash a big warning on the screen really fast. This section may contain spoilers, so if you guys do not wish to be spoiled in the game, you want to play it for yourself, then I will gladly give you the time post on the screen right now for when part 3 is going to start. But again, guys, this does contain spoilers. Without further ado, let's get into this. So, we all know that Mass Effect contains 4 games. The franchise contains 4 games at the moment, which is the first original 3. Then there is, again, Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. And then there is Mass Effect Andromeda, the newest one that just came out a little bit ago, I think. I think it was about a year ago to the date as of now. But what we're going to talk about is the first 3. Just give you a baseline summary of what it was about. The first 3 was based on Commander Shepard. You could choose to be male or female. Me, personally, I went with the male section of the game because, in my opinion, like I said, I'm going to be expressing a lot of my opinions in this video that, I don't know, I just liked the male more because he sounded more like a commander than the female did, the female counterpart. So, the main storyline behind it is you go through as this Alliance commander of the military and eventually become the captain of the Normandy. And the Normandy is your ship that you use throughout the whole franchise, except in the second game where you get an entirely new ship because the original one gets destroyed. So the main storyline behind it is you are fighting against these robotic sentient beings known as Reapers, which are the main enemy throughout the entire game. There are also a lot of more side quests within the game, all that kind of interesting stuff, but that's in Andromeda as well. But the main storyline, again, is about the Reapers, giant sentient AI ships that wish to destroy the galaxy and restart the universe. So, the Mass Effect Andromeda is a bit different. It revolves around a character known as Ryder, who is a pathfinder within a new galaxy. So you are basically trying to find a new home since you left the Milky Way, where Earth is located, and it is now 600 years in the future since you left the Milky Way. So it has been a very long time, which, well, you're trying to find a new home. That's pretty much the whole story behind it. I mean, there is the alien race known as the Ket, which you fight against, which is the main enemy of the game. But besides that, that's pretty much the main storyline. Basically, finding yourself a home and fighting off the Ket monsters, which includes stuff like this, which I'm fighting right now, and the basic kit, which you saw earlier in the video. To do a little bit of comparison for you really fast, and which I think is better. In my opinion, Mass Effect 1 through 3 was better than Andromeda will be, because I'm going to go through a couple of reasons why. So first off, we're going to start with the customization stuff in general. So the customizations in the game. Yes, Andromeda contained a lot more diversity, but in all honesty, the customizations in Andromeda, all the default templates look hideous. Like, you're just absolutely ugly in the start. Let's just start out, for example, with the default appearances. The default appearances in Mass Effect 1 through 3 are very decent looking. I enjoy what they look like, and the first time I played through, I did use the default appearance for the male Shepard. See, because he looked decent. Like, he looked like a commander, he looked like someone that had actual war experience. And then you come to the second game. Now, the second game, again, the default appearances are much better. They're more graphic, and the third one, they're pretty much the same, except they're all better graphic. Let's move on to Andromeda. Andromeda customizations, the default appearances for the male and female look, in my opinion, they look stupid. I don't know if you guys think the same thing, but there's something about it that just looks off. Like, at the original start, you're really pale, your lips look weird, and it's just, everything looks too cluttered, and it's just not that interesting, and it's not, the default appearances are just bad. Then we're going to get into customization. Customization in 1 through 3, there's not as much. Like, Andromeda contains much more extensive customizations than 1 through 3 did, being a future game. But in 1 through 3, most people don't want to take 30 minutes to try to create a character. Now, if you're like me and you like to waste your life playing role-playing games, you will waste, I do believe, on this character I'm currently playing as right now, if you look at him, this took, I do believe, 45 minutes to create, and he looks okay, but he still doesn't look great. It's just, the customizations in Andromeda, they added in a lot of, I think diversity is the word, and they added a lot of options, but at the same time, they didn't make these options look well. If they made the options look well, I would have enjoyed customizations more. I like the extensivity, that's not even a word, if it's the extensive something about it, which makes you have more customization options, but at the same time, Mass Effect 1 through 3, you had a lot of customization options as well, plus it was easier to make, and it looked better all in all, which was, you still look like a commander that had a lot of war experience, which is what Commander Shepard is. And then you just have this guy. Shepard is 10 times better than Ryder ever will be, in my opinion. So, in my opinion, 1 through 3 customization rules out than the Andromeda does. So we're going to move on to a different section in comparison here, which is allies and relationships. So as you guys know, if you've ever played Mass Effect is exclusively good on role-playing games. And that means you can have a relationship with a character, whether it be romantically involved or you can be really good friends with a character. If you're like me, again, and you waste your life, I like to do romance options because it's part of the story, it's immersive, that kind of stuff. Now just to talk about it real fast, again, the original Mass Effects 1 through 3 went out in this category for a specific reason. Talking about relationships in general in 1 through 3 were a lot better because, in my opinion, and this has actually been proven by many reviews, you get more connected in the original Mass Effect with your squad than you do in the newer one, which is Andromeda. So the whole thing about this, in my opinion, is whether you're romantically involved or not, literally in Mass Effect Andromeda, you find a squad, you're with them, and you just slowly over time get to know them like really fast, and you just get to know their backstory, and that's it. After that, you don't really connect. I do believe there's only one instance where your whole squad connects, which is like a movie night or something like that. But it's just there's not as much as there was in Mass Effect 1 through 3. Even just Mass Effect 3, you connect with your squad so much more because there's loyalty missions first off, which are in both games, but at the same time, you get the only person's emotions you really see in the game in Andromeda is Jal. Jal, I do believe, is the only person that you really super connect with throughout the whole game, which is really disappointing because he's the only one where you really get to see true emotion with, which is it sucks because you want to get to know the emotions of all the characters, and that just doesn't happen in Andromeda like it does in 1 through 3. Specifically on romance options as of now, like literally in Andromeda, you romance the person, you have a scene with them, which is suggestive. If you, this is for mature, I guess. But and that's it. After that scene, it's it. There's nothing else part of it. That's just the end of the romance. If you go up and try to talk to him again, you can say stuff to him, but that's it. There's nothing afterwards. While if you look at Mass Effect, if you romance someone, yeah, there's a scene with it, but still, at the end of the game, you connect with them at the very end in a way that Andromeda didn't provide, which was something that I enjoyed more than I did in Mass Effect, than Andromeda that I enjoyed in 1 through 3. And I guarantee you, I read reviews on this, and many people agree the same way. You connect more with the characters in 1 through 3, and you get to know them more than you did in Andromeda. I mean, guaranteed this could be because there is only one game in Andromeda, but like I said, in my opinion, Mass Effect 3 could still provide better relationships than Mass Effect Andromeda did. Now let's move on to something that is part of the actual game, which is gameplay, which is what you've been seeing right now. Andromeda, I do believe, wins in this category. One just probably because it's a few more game that was made in the future, more than Mass Effect was, the original Mass Effects, and it's just got more content to it, as you can see right here. In the original Mass Effects, you had to choose one of these classes right here, and you had to stick with it through the entire game. Now you can switch between which ones you want to do, which provides more diversity to the game, as well as more options for you to do. There's also whole lists of abilities that you can use that are so much more than Mass Effect 1 through 3. I think all these right here were equivalent to every single skill you had in 1 through 3. I think is what it was. And so it adds a lot more components in Mass Effect Andromeda than it did in 1 through 3. But gameplay, just because Andromeda wins in that, gameplay isn't what makes a role-playing game. What makes a role-playing game is the immersion and the relationships and everything else within the game that you can have. The storyline, everything else besides gameplay wins in Mass Effect 1 through 3 for me. It's just better. That's why if I had a vote, I would choose Mass Effect 1 through 3 over Andromeda. So, anyway, guys, that is the end of part 2 of the video. And here in just a sec, we will start part 3 of the video where we'll be discussing future events of what Mass Effect might have to offer. Anyway, guys, part 3 will start soon. Alright, guys, this will be the start of part 3 of the video, where I will be discussing the potential future of Mass Effect, of what is coming, and what, in my opinions, I would like to see, or what I think will be coming. So we're going to start out with what is coming, what I was reading about, that BioWare did not do so hot with Andromeda. It was not good what happened. In fact, I don't know if there will be another Mass Effect game, because look at it this way, the Mass Effect, there was supposed to be a DLC to come out for Andromeda that was involving the Quarians and I think the Hanar, I think is what it was. That was supposed to be coming out, and that immediately got canceled after all the money they lost on Andromeda. Andromeda was a big disappointment to the Mass Effect community. I wouldn't say so much for myself. I enjoyed playing it, but that's just because I love the series so much, probably. And the fact that I try my hardest to respect a game for what it is, but I can still say Andromeda was not that impressive to me. Andromeda was a huge disappointment from what the original one was, and it just made the series look bad, in all honesty. And so the future of it right now, what we're looking at is there is no project running right now that BioWare or EA is doing to make another Mass Effect at this moment. Now, whether they make another one or not is up to speculation. I really hope they do. But as of now, there is no project that EA or anything has released or even specifically said about talking about another Mass Effect, which proves how bad Andromeda was. But if I'm going to talk about what I would like to see, I really hope they will make another Mass Effect, but abandon the Andromeda series. I mean, I like the game, but in all honesty, I wish they would bring something old back. In all honesty, what I would like to see is something in the future, yes, but something still involving Commander Shepard, and if that playing as him still being in the game, or her still being in the game. Something I would like to see is a future right after the Reapers are destroyed. Like at the beginning, you get to customize what happened in the past, or if they can revamp Mass Effect 1 through 3 and sell it for the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One, like they did with The Last of Us, how they remastered it. That would be interesting. The decisions you did in that affect the newer game that might come out, which is right afterwards, which is the thing right afterwards where you could potentially play as Shepard's son or daughter. This is something I would thoroughly enjoy seeing because it adds the old but new at the same time. And to make a new opponent, I mean, just look at it this way: you could just have leftover the Reapers, depending on the ending you chose, or it has have three completely different storylines. How amazing would this be? Guaranteeing this would take a lot to create, I'm well aware, but since there are multiple endings for the Mass Effect game, one maybe Shepard lives, sometimes maybe he's not alive or she's not alive, but something along those lines, something that adds extension and the past of what we have seen before in Mass Effect. I think this would bring the Mass Effect community back. But this, you're just listening to one guy's opinions, but overall, my opinions, statistically proven, guys, Mass Effect will not be coming back for a long time since Andromeda was such a big disappointment. So that is very bad news, especially to people that really enjoy this game. But without further ado, guys, this is where I'm going to end off this discussion video. I thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and also leave a comment down below in case I missed something or you just have opinions on what you would like to see future Massive games being like. I'm always open to opinions and comments that you guys have. But without anyway, guys, be sure to subscribe to become a member of the newly formed fabulous family. And always remember, guys, the sky is blue. If only I could turn back.